So we've touched upon some topics just briefly that I brought up primarily that I want to not neglect because they're large and all-inclusive, and it seems like a good time to bring up something that I've been avoiding. If I can be very personal with you about this topic. You've heard me speak about late-stage capitalism. You've heard me refer to the end of civilization as we know it. I've used the word extinction not repeatedly, but enough to see if there's any resonance here with that. Not that I'm looking for it. It's very deep, trans-existential issue. But one of the most overarching, the epic overarching, trans-overarching issue for me in the last 5 years that has dominated every decision is my intimate look into, with a few friends, primarily one, my longest, oldest friend, our former partner, Catherine Ingram. I want to introduce you to her, some of her writings. But the exploration of the state of affairs environmentally and cognitively that has resulted in an essay that she wrote that we've been talking about for 5 or 6 years called the Facing Extinction. I'd like to put that out there if I can. Facing Extinction, just do a search. And it was written for the purpose of telling the truth to those whom primarily already here, but also it's morphed out into the world to those who are almost hearing. And so I'd like to spend a little bit of time before we break today, in this final day, talking about the issue that is dominating my life. It's no longer in any way you can see, and I apologize for any shortcomings on my part. I don't seek forgiveness. It's just I'm in a state of heightened unusualness, heightened urgency, radical urgency based upon the perception, the data, the information of, I would almost say, irrefutable certainty of near-term extinction. And that's one thing. How many of us can face mortality? How many of us have faced death? We all have and we all will. But on our watch, on our term, what are you saying? That death would be one thing. It's the collapse that's the concern. So from my research, and when you read her essay, meant to be read in 45 minutes, high degree of spiritual resonance within it, with the most important discernible scientific data available to all of us to cross-corroborate, to research if you wish, but she concisely put it together in a short, free-to-read essay that's sadly, beautifully gone viral. The Huffington Post did a cover of it, The Guardian, it's everywhere. The Guardian. Facing Extinction, Catherine Ingram. Search. Read at your own elevation of prioritization of what really matters. And it puts us into a logical, full, open Nelson that we're in late stage civilization. What we're experiencing here will likely not be here 3 to 5 years from now. They're talking about the end of habitat based on the excessive amount of heat unable to grow food, and the colossal collapse that's already in place of that, that isn't so visible to us at Zest or Cafe, but the essay and data points to a global catastrophic collapse that's occurring now, irrefutable. We're already in extinction moment. The example of the tsunami on the beach in Java with 500 people or so that perished, all the while they're dancing and celebrating what normal people do. Unbeknownst that seconds later, the existential wave of catastrophic environmental apocalypse, not global warming, that the heat has gone through the ceiling, baked in and going through the ceiling to, unfortunately, remove the capacity for food supplies to be grown. Set aside increase of temperatures in areas of the world and fires that are raging all the time, most of them not even known to the media. So, by way of saying that I'm inviting among the few people in my life that hang in, to hang in on the terms of what I need in my life to have someone hang in. I'm not interested in someone who doesn't get that. I only want to be with those who know those secret things, or with those who know them, or alone. So if you're interested to stay close to me in my life, in the things that matter to me, I would just suggest Catherine wrote a very exquisite, poignant, powerful, tragic, hard to write, hard to read. Someone did it. Not the only person, but she's one of us. And I would recommend that you take a look at that. If you want to read it and you want to bring it to the afternoon discussion, I'm offering that 3-hour period to integrate that into anything personal, whatever it may be, on a level of emotional uncertainty. Where will I go? What will I do? What are my priorities? The reason I mentioned the final trip to Burma, 42 years of going there, is that I am calling off my journey of world travel and finding a location where I can deal with my few people in the late stage collapse. That's my personal secret. I'm not going to take a lot of people with me on that journey. We can't. I'm looking for the right location in the right time, and this is why I'm in Ubud. I haven't ruled out Ubud. Thinking about Byron, Maui, Ubud. But when that happens, it's basically a completely different emotional truth for me. I'm in that stage. I left my daughter to be in that journey of finding a location where we can live, and I dare say where we can die. We will die. That's become immeasurably clear to me, Catherine, a few other people, a growing sector of people, even young boys and girls. Greta, 16 years old, nominated for the Peace Prize, has been mobilizing the world. And she's still in the optimistic phase that if it doesn't change within minutes, there is zero hope of survival. People in her camp are talking about up to 6 billion people dying in the immediate future. What does that say to us in our spiritual, psychological, emotional world? That's all I'm saying. I brought this retreat together for this purpose. Find a home, find a tribe, and to talk about the unspeakable in the most humble, elegant, open-hearted way, and to open a dialogue in that area not only what can we do, but what can we feel? What's the response to me? The certainty of the future, of course people want to say based on hopium and denial, who really knows? The issue is not about if, it's a question of when and also how it will happen. That's being really looked at very carefully. The dystopian collapse, not pretty. And so the things that we take for granted today, spiritually and psychologically and emotionally, are only going to become so complex 6 month by 6 month. The anxieties that we feel, the struggles that we feel, are only going to be amplified. We're called upon to rise heroic of interrupting these primordial forces and get more and more prepared that business as psychological, emotional, meditative, usual is over. I'm encouraging you to check. I'm here to integrate, elevate, and to see where you sit inside of your heart with this new depth of information. And what do you want to do psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually with the next 5 years of your life? So, I share that with you open-heartedly. There's no need to criticize and judge the messenger. It's not conspiracy theory. It is not hyperbole. It is not speculation. Do the math. Look at the data. It's far worse than even what's being said. Be prepared for economic, environmental, food, transportation, banking, utility collapses, that kind of thing. Water, light, food, yes. We're going back to an area that's very foreign to most people. I would suggest in the immediate year or two, even sooner, maybe next month, begin to think about all these things. If this essay means something to you, cross-reference it, see the videos, see other pundits talking about it. Greta is leading a global civil disobedience campaign. Millions and millions of boys and girls that are kids are saying to you, you're full of shit in your psycho-fucking spiritual meditative babble. Your lifestyle is fucking pathological. All you do is burn fossil fuels to kill us. Get over it. This is how I talk to myself on stage, satirizing my own hypocrisy. Alan, what about meditation? What about psychotherapy? What about psychogens, entheogens? Isn't it going to wake me up? Do some more plant medicine. Get over it. It's going to get so fucking bad that you're going to have to call upon every muscle in your soul to rise up into the decency, even among the few people that are going to be willing to be near you. What does it mean to love in ways that we've never known, and to help and to heal and to share? An exaggerated time. I'm asking you, we're family members, don't abandon me over anything petty. I need support, you need support, right? We're in this sort of thing together kind of thing. Don't forget me, don't forget food, don't forget medicine. Share the fucking food in our closet, the clothing off our back. Help, help, help. Go, go, go. Burma's my last trip. Need to hunker down somewhere and see if there's any land that's available, and learn to do what I once did: garden, touch, cathart, cry, create a few things to help support. Why am I offering this retreat for free? What point is there to have money? If someone's not going to deliver being a supporter of mine, what good is it? If I can't lead with the message of patronage, what point do I have? The time for accumulation is over. Legacy is over. My books will never have a history. I don't care what you say about me personally. I'll be forgotten. You'll be forgotten. Fair enough? I'm just going right through the deal. It's not going to be pretty, not going to be pleasant. However, we're among the few people that feel really timeless, beautiful qualities. Today we're going to spend the afternoon talking about this, about forgiveness, about healing, about the new paradigm of what's expected of our hearts to live in this complexity. So if you have questions and things, read this, take it home with you, cry about it, fight about it, but include it in our discovery, and I bring it up to you with the high risk you may not want to be around me. I am not a negative person. I'm just sharing with you the truth of my heart. And those of you who know me more than others, I've shared this with you. You know it, you've read it. But based upon this retreat and my life here, I don't want to leave. I didn't want to leave, and I did not plan to bring this up, but it felt like the best time to bring it up. So in the last 10 minutes before we leave for lunch, anything you'd like to ask about what I'm saying? Susan?
It's more of just a share of my own experience.
Absolutely.
Alan gave me the option and opportunity to read this article back in September, and I just want to share my integration of this information in hopes that perhaps it will be helpful. I highly recommend, if you do make the choice of allowing yourself the opportunity to become privy of this information that he's speaking of, it can feel incredibly isolating. And so I suggest, a lot of people are coming and living here from other parts of the world and have newer relationships, but I would suggest really having a very strong support network as you integrate this information. We all will react to it differently. It's very jarring in its realism, and it's a lot of things that you don't want to have to face, but it is the reality of the situation. And so be very delicate with yourself and with your process. Feel what you need to feel, and again, tap into support of people that you truly trust to be able to hold this space for you.
Yeah, good. And I bring it up now, and thank you, Susan, because I want to not be irresponsible with sharing what I feel, but in the spirit of radical honesty and transparency, I'm hanging out in that level of unprecedented urgency with how to feel, what to do, and who to do it with. And so I do recommend what Susan's recommending. Have a couple of people where you can share and be supported, and I'm there for you should you want to reach out, whether it be by text or various other means. I'm encouraging those in Burma. You will see Burma is a challenging country. People go like, what do you mean by this? As soon as you get off the plane in Rangoon, you realize it's almost impossible to breathe. Be in Bangkok today, almost impossible to breathe. In Hong Kong, almost impossible to see above 10 stories. These mega cities that are going online, almost impossible to breathe, much less live in. The streets have 20 hours of gridlock. You can't believe it takes 3 hours sometimes to go 4 miles. There's no emissions control. These people are having to work just simply to put food on their table that day, and there's hundreds of thousands who don't work. We're in utter collapse. This is a bubble, and vulnerable bubble. So by way of saying, be very, oh wow, okay, cool, this is very interesting. But it will be a rude awakening if you haven't felt it, but a reaffirming awakening. To some people rise to the emotional occasion and go like, I've been waiting for a new way of being. I've been complacent, not being really met. I don't have to believe it, I just have to basically absorb it and just start to manifest a higher frequency of expression. That's the gift of this experience right now, that life exists after us. We all know that. 5 previous extinctions that are well marked in the sediment. This one, they say, is happening far faster than any previous. And we're in the final stage of it. Not just beginning, the final stage. 10 years is a microsecond where people are using the word the end of habitat commonly. Kids are using it. My daughter will use it. Dad, you meditated watching your breath for 35 years. There's not going to be oxygen in 10. Too hot to even breathe. No food, no water. Okay? That's what the data in the kids are talking about. The kids inform adults of new ways of behaving. I inform my parents' generation of a new way of behaving, and even inform my own contemporaries of a new way of thinking and feeling. Now the kids are telling us, hey, snap out of the psycho-spiritual coma. It's no longer about you getting it right on the terms of your theology, your religion, or your psychology. It's not just survival, it's more than that. Keeping the future of consciousness and beauty alive. So I'm begging you as friends, as we end today to take lunch, it's not to lose hope, it's just to have a larger container for it. I think of the future of existence, the future of consciousness, it'll regenerate post-6. What I love most about this life is that there's life. Life is self-evident. Hope is self-evident. Life itself is the reason to have hope. Not that it will work out in a way in which we avoid these catastrophic experiences, but that we invest in the moment so sufficiently, and that's why I go on about the beautification of the mind. States of consciousness are what define my integrity. I'm investing in those things unremittingly as the vocation of my analogous Dharma breathing. In-breath, out-breath. So I encourage us, when in doubt, when in fear, in-breath, out-breath. Bring the most spectacular state imaginable to the soul, to the forefront of your being. Listen with all our heart, love with all our being. Take me if you need to. I am yours, Mr. Rumi and God, Dharma Buddha. Take me, take me. I am fearlessly engaged in the beauty of being. Trans-existence, it will be reborn, because I'm keeping alive. Be the peace that you seek. Keep alive the investment in beautiful states of mind. There seems to be nothing else to do except practicality of what Susan said. Bring good people near you, hold, break bread, drink wine, talk, cathart. There'll be more retreats like this and containers for them. Those of you who come to Burma, you can continue to talk about it. And walk softly towards the location where you want to live and hold space. The time is to think carefully on where I want to go. Who will I be with? What will I do? How will I sustain in the collapse? So from my heart to yours, thank you for listening. And we can bring all of this and more to the final session of this retreat and take it even higher in any way that you want. There'll be times to sit and time to talk and time to review. But take your time at lunch, do what you need to do, and from my heart to yours, it's the most honest I could be with you. And may we go into the lunch in the afternoon in beautiful states of peace and kindness and respect. Thank you.
Where is the article, did you say? Where do I see the article? Where can I see it?
Just Google it. Racing extension. Facing